Well, stories about Bigfoot, UFOs, or even stories about a miracle are only interesting to talk about. But according to a recent study done by a Baylor University team, there may be more people than you think who truly believe in those things. Stephanie Franks talked with two people about what inspires them to believe in the unseen.
We were in East Texas one evening, and we got almost was an exact mimic of a howl. The end of the howl was a long growling type noise.
It was a sound that John Dickey says changed him from a skeptic to a believer in Bigfoot.
There's no explanation for what I experienced in those situations.
For the past 5 years, Dickey has helped collect evidence that Bigfoot exists, the creature some call Sasquatch, but most just call a myth.
Scoffed and laughed at. Yeah.
The thrill of hunting for the unbelievable is what keeps those like Dickey intrigued by Sasquatch.
Your feet are telling you to leave, but your brain says, no, stay here, because this is what we're here for.
And Dickey says his faith in God has actually strengthened because of his search for the mysterious creature.
I look at it this way. This is one of God's creatures that he's done well in keeping it hid.
That about 16% of people believe that Bigfoot will one day be discovered by science. About another 22% believe that they have seen a UFO.
That number surprised Christopher Bader, who is part of a Baylor University team doing extensive research on what Americans believe in.
There's a significant percent of the American public believe they've had some sort of experience that you might call paranormal.
Bader defines paranormal as any supernatural experience which isn't connected to mainstream religion.
There you can find people who don't believe anything in terms of beliefs that are taught by a church, but might still believe that they have psychic powers, or might still believe in UFOs or ghosts.
The study also disproves a stereotype of those who believe in God.
Popular belief out there, you hear in academia and other places, that people who are religious, that they are probably just uncritical, stupid, and you'll believe in anything. And we found that that's not in fact the case. If you want to think of it this way, that congregation is essentially taking up all of their supernatural space, and they don't have as much time left over to be investigating alternatives.
But it is through these alternatives that some people reinforce their faith. Knowing what is fake allows them to better understand what they see as real.
These are barefoot prints in the middle of nowhere. We haphazardly came across them, so we know they could not have been faked.
There is another type of supernatural that stems only from a religious faith.
Almost 55% of people in this country claim to have actually been protected from harm by a guardian angel.
2 years ago, my dad passed away, and he had numerous surgeries from colon cancer.
Kathy Short is one of those telling her story. When Kathy got the call her father died, she said it was angels and her father's presence that got her through.
Laid over his body, and I asked God, I said, please give me a sign that my dad is okay and that he's in heaven. And my dad always loved when it would get cooler and the wind would blow and it would rain, and he would always say there's nothing more refreshing than having the wind blow in the rain. As I'm laying over him and praying and asking God for a sign, he had big trees, pecan trees. The trees started swaying.
It was then, Kathy says, she found her sign.
It might sound strange to some people, but things like that, to me, it gave me peace.
These are experiences which people find very deep and very moving, to the extent that they're not asking for anything. They just want to tell somebody about it.
In the book of Matthew, Jesus says the blind shall see and the deaf shall hear. For some, it may be that scripture that gives them the inspiration to believe in the unseen, whether it is spiritual or supernatural.
It just gives you strength to go through each day.
It has not diminished my faith, and it has not affected it. If anything, it's probably strengthened it.